Of Heat 5, and of course this was an absolutely crucial heat in this championship, because once again, as we see at the start, Rag and Famish had a great start. Club Marine had a terrific start. Down the other end of the line, however, Gotta Love It 7 also started brilliantly, and Fiat out to the left in that picture. She needed to put in a big race in order for this championships to stay open, but at the top end of the course, Jack, for the first time it was 7 that led, and then a surprise package, Kinda Caring.
And Brett Van Monster, the skipper of Kinda Caring, chose to go the right-hand side of Shark Island there, and that obviously really paid off, right on the heels of the race leaders.
Fiat was still up there at this stage, and so she was still in a position about a quarter of the way through this race to do some damage and potentially pass 7 and keep the series open, but she was struggling because 7's downhill speed was excellent in the big run back down towards the Sydney Harbour Bridge. In the second leg of this race, Kinda Caring held her position, but then the fleet did come down to 7. They carried Breeze all the way down to Gotta Love It 7, and there you can see they bunched up, and Fiat at this stage was still in it. At the bottom end of the course for the first time, Fiat had moved herself up into second position and was trying to challenge Gotta Love It 7 for the lead, and she had to do that to keep it open.
And as the fleet compressed coming into that bottom mark, we see ASCO making big gains, and now they're right on the heels of Kinda Caring.
ASCO, of course, is the other skiff still with a chance in this series at this point in time as we came into Heat 5. And at the top end of the course for the second time, Fiat and ASCO were still trying their hardest to catch up to Gotta Love It 7, but Gotta Love It 7 was getting away. Her speed was proving to be faultless. Kinda Caring was hanging in there, and despite all the experience on board the ASCO, the Kinda Caring boys did great work to stay in third position at this stage, and here they are flying downhill. The breeze picked up a bit as they headed back down towards Kirribilli for the second time, and Kinda Caring going like a rocket, and actually making up some ground on Fiat, who still led the race.
And it's not just speed in this type of wind. The sou'easter brings a lot of tactics into the racing, so it pays to keep your head out of the boat and be looking for that next wind pressure. We see that Channel 7 has done that very well. They've extended that lead at the third time from the top mark.
Yes, they certainly did. And Fiat maintained second position despite the challenge from Kinda Caring, who rounded the top mark last time in third position. And she was still nipping at the heels of Fiat. ASCO also still in very good shape, and the other skiff with a chance still in the series, but one of these skiffs had to get up and pass Gotta Love It 7 in this race in order for it to truly be still on. They battled a bit to get over the top of Bradley's Head there, and ASCO particularly was challenged, and of course if they get that wrong then they hit the bricks. Well, they managed to avoid that, but what none of them could avoid at the end of the day was the dominance of Gotta Love It 7. Kinda Caring hung in there brilliantly. This young crew had the race of a lifetime, I would say. And getting up towards the finish line, the battle for second really got hot. ASCO tacking away from Fiat to try and find different air and see if they could get past them. 7 had already made the break, and here she is now approaching the finish line to win Heat 5 and really take a stranglehold on this series, Jack.
And ASCO managed to sail through Fiat to take second place in the fifth heat. Fiat close behind, and on their heels, Kinda Caring.
As we prepared for the start of Heat 6 in this championship, we knew that someone had to really do some damage to the Gotta Love It 7. She had to have a bad race for this championship to stay open. Well, some bad stuff did happen, but it wasn't to Gotta Love It 7. It was to Fiat, to Macquarie, and a couple of others who broke the start and had to go back. As a consequence, the Gotta Love It 7 and Club Marine out to her left were able to get away, make a great start in quite fluky conditions on Sydney Harbour. Easterly breeze up and down, changing direction, but Gotta Love It 7 was exactly where she needed to be. ASCO was not. She was pinned back in the fleet, and she also had to be right up there and winning this heat to be a chance in the championship. So getting up towards the top end of the course for the first time, once again, Kinda Caring having another good race. ASCO managing to clear her air as she went along and make some gains. Club Marine led early, and as they approached the top end of the course, she still led. Indeed, she led around the top mark. She was first. Second around was Gotta Love It 7. She goes in a different direction to Club Marine. Rag and Famish was third. The Americans were fourth, and fifth was Slam. So that was the order at the top end of the course for the first time. And then a really nice race developed between Rag and Famish way out there in green Gotta Love It 7 in the middle, and Club Marine still leading the race at this early stage.
And Rag and Famish managed to pick up a bit of pressure there out on the right-hand side, and they made up a little bit of a ground downwind. But Channel 7 stayed very close to them, trying to make sure they're in similar breeze so they don't have a chance to squeeze past.
1/3 of the way through the race, and Club Marine, Adam Beechel, was still very much in contention, but then we had a bit of a bingle down here at the bottom end of the course, and this had a dramatic impact on this race. So as Club Marine's coming in on port tack, she's got no rights at all. Let's go to the live commentary on the day. From leaving it too long before he jibed, and 7 now making up a lot of territory. They too going for the drop. They've got their nose in front. Adam Beechel's on the inside. He's got right of way if they're going to go around this mark. There are 2 marks to choose from. Oh, Adam Beechel. Oh, no. Oh, they're okay. Are they okay? Oh, they're nearly okay. Well, as it turned out, of course, Jackie, they weren't okay at all. There was a collision there was a loss of control, and it changed the complexion of the race completely. Now, give us a sense of who you think was in the right and who was in the wrong.
Well, Channel 7 did have to keep out of Club Marine's way there, but Club Marine also had to go around that mark, and they didn't. They've carried on. Their pole is now stuck in the wing of Channel 7, and that's going to cost them both dearly. Rag and Famish has gone out to the right-hand mark, and they're already heading upwind.
So who do you think would have had to be doing circles after that little encounter, if anyone?
I think it'd have to be Club Marine.
Club Marine in the wrong, in your view?
In my view, yes.
Oh, they'll get after you about that. But pretty soon, of course, 7 did get untangled, and in no time at all, they'd reassumed the lead. And there we see this great beat to windward where these 2 skiffs, Rag and Famish and Gotta Love It 7, just went hammer and tongs all the way back up to the top end of the course again. Rag and Famish managed to get the lead back again, and they held it all the way to the top end of the course. So John Harris, he's won the World Championship, so he knows what that's all about. And there he is, rounding the top mark ahead of Gotta Love It 7. He took control of the race. They had a terrific battle going forward. And of course, Club Marine was still doing its utmost to try and get back in the race. But Gotta Love It 7 going around the top mark, and then the New Zealanders on CT sail battens, Fiat and Omega Schmeg sitting back there in 3rd, 4th and 5th. Now, sailing these boats in these conditions, that looks like just great fun, Jack.
Yeah, lovely little easterly on Sydney Harbour for this race, but it was quite gusty as well, so it takes a fair bit to keep the boat travelling nicely through those changes in pressure.
At the top end of the course for the last time, Rag and Famish had maintained her lead over Gotta Love It 7. They were headed down towards the finish line now. It wasn't over by any means. Sevi Jarvan there throwing in a jibe, changing directions to see if he could just find some pressure that Rag and Famish didn't find. And she was still very keen to win the race, even though sitting in 2nd position in this penultimate heat, Jackie, meant that she was going to win the championship.
Yeah, and Rag very, very keen to protect their first place. You can see them jibing with Channel 7 whenever they jibe to make sure they stay in the same pressure as them. Here Channel 7 goes for another jibe. Rag and Famish following to make sure they protect their lead, and they did.
And that, of course, meant that Rag and Famish put themselves up into the battle for 2nd position in this series, but by finishing 2nd in this Heat 6, Gotta Love It 7 wins the championship. Through in 3rd position, Omega Schmeg, so Trevor Barnabas having a good race after he failed to finish the previous race because he had a collision. Having their best race of the series with the boys on board Slam, they finished 4th, and then a great battle for 5th and 6th between Macquarie and Fiat prevailed. In actual fact, of course, Club Marine was also in that battle, and Macquarie were doing their utmost to get ahead of Club Marine towards the finish line. Here they come in now, and Club Marine was able to squeak in and beat Macquarie across the line. And so that completed Heat 6 in the championships. Gotta Love It 7, they had it in the bag, and it was now a question of who was going to finish 2nd between Fiat, Asco and Omega Schmeg.